Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, is the prequel to Mad Max Fury Road, and this is the franchise's fifth installment, once again written and directed by the brilliant George Miller. The film is about the origin story of renegade warrior Furiosa before her encounter and team up with Mad Max. I love this chaotic franchise. It is full of action, adventure, and good old revenge. I have seen all of the other films. I love the first film, Mad Max, which is a very dark drama film that has so much escalation as it gets higher and higher. You believe in the execution of why Mel Gibson's Mad Max becomes, well, mad. The second film, Mad Max 2, aka The Road Warrior, is more of an action film, but it is full of action and intensity from start to finish. The third one, Mad Max Beyond the Thunderdome, I would say is the least best in the franchise, but still, it is a damn good film. Tina Turner is great in the film, it has a fantastic finale, but the film does struggle sometimes with pacing. Then many years later, in 2015, we had Mad Max Fury Road, and I would say that it is still one of the greatest action films. It has a very simple story of being a cat and mouse chase, there and back again, mind-blowing and full of fun experience. Now here we are 9 years later with Furiosa, and holy shit, I loved this prequel. When it comes to George Miller as a filmmaker, I always respect and praise his craft with the Mad Max franchise. Whether it's on a technical level of capturing real chase sequences of cars, motorbikes, helicopters, or monster trucks on locations, or on a storytelling level of showing a character who has gone through so much pain and loss. Whether the loss may be the world itself or someone they once knew and loved has now gone. This is someone who has now made these films for over 40 years, with his current age being 79, but George Miller has still got it for making Furiosa brilliantly from both a writing and directing perspective. The first aspect to talk about is, of course, the action sequences, and I found all of the action scenes to be mind-blowing. The chase sequences of the variety of vehicles, shootouts, and other moments were full of epicness, intensity, and as always, insanity. As much as I think that the action wasn't at the level of Fury Road's, but if you loved Fury Road, I do think you're going to appreciate the action scenes in Furiosa. I found the world building to have so much personality from the designs and looks, both practically and visually, of the Green Place and the Citadel, which were both briefly in Fury Road, but both look different. Plus, there are new locations that are introduced in the story's development. I'm glad to see Miller got to film this back in Australia, which adds a bit more realism towards the world's origin of the Mad Max franchise. Regarding the performances, Anya Taylor-Joy as a young adult Furiosa was marvellous, although she doesn't come into the film until nearly an hour in, as before it's a child actor. Eventually though, when she is in the film with being more as a mute, and only having 30 lines in the film, she delivers so much believability from her emotions based on her facial expressions. This is another style Miller is great at doing based on his craft of show and don't tell. More on visuals from both something and someone like Mad Max and Furiosa's looks of emotions and less on dialogue. But back to the character of Furiosa. From the setup, you believe her arc of revenge towards Chris Hemsworth's character. I felt the script provided so much more depth about where she came from, which is the Green Place, with her culture and capabilities. Also, her experience in love, pain and loss. Plus, and most importantly for Fury Road, the moments of change that are life-changing for her. For example, how one of her arms went, which was pretty brutal in this film, and how she came across with Immortal Joe. I understand that these little moments can be annoying to some because we do wonder about why do we need to know about these little moments. I think it's more important to know it's more about how and less on why. Because it's these little moments of development that show so much more growth and depth about Furiosa as a character. Another performance to mention is Chris Hemsworth as the antagonist named Dementis. In my opinion, I feel that Hemsworth delivered a career-best performance, and with a character like Dementes, there is so much to process about him. He is like this over-the-top Roman messiah leader who is full of culture. He is unpredictable, edgy, appalling, sometimes funny, and a nutcase. He is another great example of what a Mad Max villain should always be. Like all of the other Mad Max films, Furiosa also has excellent set pieces, production designs, props and costumes. They are all so dedicated and appropriate for the type of world this franchise is based in. The score was intentionally loud, insane, and gave me goosebumps a lot of times. The film has beautiful cinematography from the shots of the post-apocalyptic wasteland. In addition, the multiple colours represent day, night, and within the dangerous and remote tone itself. I thought this was well paced. In all honesty, I found the near 2-hour 30 mark to be fine, as I was hooked and glued to the massive IMAX screen. But I can understand though that some will have a problem with the runtime, which is fair. But for me, I found that it was worth it. My only issue with Furiosa would be that some of the CGI was not that great, as it didn't look completely polished and it was sometimes distracting to me. I can agree and understand why this time that Miller went for a mixture of CGI and practical effects for the action sequences. Being health and safety, some moments would have been nearly impossible to shoot, and this would have been more stressful for the filmmaking process. As you know, with Fury Road, a lot of it was practical and took a long time to film, with other issues as well George Miller went through. To rank this with Mad Max Fury Road, I would say that Fury Road is a better action film, as that was its main priority, to make an entertaining action film, and it did its job well. But with more character focus and having a breather, I would say that Furiosa's main strengths is those aspects, and I can tell that George Miller wanted to make a more personal Mad Max film and less just about the action. To be honest with you though, I love them both just as the same, with their different priorities and strengths. Another thing to add, I would say that this is one of the better prequels out there. I am not kidding. I would highly recommend this on the biggest screen with the loudest sound. I cannot wait to see this film again. As you know, the film has been out for a week now already. I do apologise for my review has been a bit late, as life has been pretty crazy recently. But as you know, the box office numbers haven't been great for this film, so please go see this film. I'm saying this in the most polite way. Honestly though, if you've never seen a Mad Max film before, or you've not even seen Fury Road, this film is absolutely fine to start with. I'm not kidding. It is a prequel film. It's not even about Mad Max, so it's its own story, and it's absolutely fine to start with. I'm going to give Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga, 5 stars out of 5. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this late review of Furiosa. I do apologise again, but please let me know your thoughts about the film in the comments below. I appreciate the like, subscribe and support as always. Until next time.